So what are the main positional battles in Blue Jays spring this year? Let's talk about it. So for all the talk over the offseason about the Jays' lack of pitching depth, there's actually quite a few players competing for that last spot in the rotation. New additions Jesse Chavez and Gavin Floyd are competing with Aaron Sanchez and Drew Hutchinson for that fifth spot. So it would seem that two of the three who don't take that rotation spot will end up in the bullpen. Now, barring injuries, I don't see Hutch making the rotation out of spring, leaving him to head to Buffalo. Now, of the remaining three, I actually see Aaron Sanchez stepping up and taking that last rotation spot. Sanchez worked hard all offseason with Marcus Stroman down at Duke, and he actually gained 25 pounds of muscle. He felt like he needed to do so to gain more durability and stamina to sustain his performance throughout the entire season. Now, Sanchez showed signs last year that he's learning what it takes to be a pitcher and not just a hard thrower. With his improved physical ability as well as strides he took on the more technical side, Aaron Sanchez is primed to be a big part of the Blue Jays rotation this year. So who will be coming out of the pen to close games for the Jays this season? Now, this really is a two-man race between the impressive young Roberto Osuna and his new teammate Drew Storen. Storen was acquired over the offseason from the Washington Nationals in exchange for Ben Revere. Now, he's had a very successful career with the Nationals, and he was actually their closer up until they acquired Jonathan Papelbon. He's always put up very strong strikeout-to-walk ratios and was a model of consistency until Papelbon moved him off that closer's position. Osuna went into camp last year without anyone having expectations of him making the team. He was really just a pitching prospect there to gain experience. Now, his eye-catching performance, as well as the Jays' need for bullpen arms, led to him making the team out of spring last year. It wasn't until late June that he got his first shot at being the everyday closer, where he stayed for the remainder of the season. The thing is, Osuna's only 21 years old and has a lot of potential as a frontline starter. Keeping him as a closer this year may stunt his development as a starter in the future because he wouldn't get a lot of innings. However, the Jays could use him in a setup role where he'd have the opportunity to get more than 3 outs at a time. This would lengthen his innings count and better prepare him for a starter's role next year. While Osuna might perform better than Storen in a closer's role this year, I believe Drew Storen was brought here to close. With that said, if Storen were to falter in the role, it wouldn't surprise me to see Roberto Osuna come in to close later in the season. That makes Drew Storen your open day closer. So who will come out of camp as the Blue Jays left fielder? The answer all comes down to health, specifically Michael Saunders' health. The position is his if his knee holds up. However, if he does need to hit the DL, this would open up the spot for Dalton Pompey. The outfield is actually the Blue Jays' greatest position of depth. It might be their only position of depth, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 or more players take turns in left field this year. Between Saunders' health and Pompey's development, it would surprise me to see guys like Junior Lake, Dom Brown, Zeke Carrera, Siciliani all have an opportunity to get big league service time this year. Well, that's if they get through waivers. Any one of these guys could crack camp as the Blue Jays' 4th outfielder, except Pompey. Pompey is still in the point in development where you want him to get everyday at-bats, so you don't want him to be sitting on the bench. So Pompey is your everyday left fielder if you're the Buffalo Bisons. Unless Saunders is hurt, which is likely, the Blue Jays left fielder coming out of camp will be Michael Saunders. Or Jay Bruce. Alright, and the position with the greatest contention, but truly really doesn't matter who will lead off. I'll just put this out there, it matters more who the players are on the field than their position in the lineup. With that being said, Kevin Pillar is the Blue Jays' leadoff hitter. Now comment below to tell me how terrible a suggestion that may be. Look, realistically, there are 4 contenders to lead off: Saunders, Pillar, Russell Martin, and baseball legend Tula. Troy Tulowitzki is a Blue Jay. Now, I'm all for the best option on paper being at the top of the order, but Tula won't be leading off. and neither will Russell Martin. I'd like to get into why they could or even should, but that would be an entire video of its own. Gibby himself has said that he will audition Saunders and Pilar during spring. And that's the whole point of spring training, to see where players fit in the lineup and in the field. Spring training isn't about numbers, it's about process. And if Saunders is healthy and shows that the time away from the field hasn't slowed his bat, he will get a chance to lead off. But Pilar still has a lot of upside to his bat. Now, hitting is what took him from a 32nd round pick to the major leagues in simply 2 years. Pilar comes into spring for the first time in his career knowing that he has a spot in the everyday lineup. Now, he's better prepared to let his natural ability to hit overcome any mental roadblocks. Now, 2015 was Pilar's breakout year defensively. 2016 will be his breakout year with the bat. Maybe. I don't know. These are just predictions. If you liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe. That way you'll be notified when my next video goes up. Alright, see you next time.